Hey YouTube, thanks for tuning in to another episode of VGAPR Garage. Today we're going to be working on a Lincoln LSE. So we're going to be replacing the valve cover gaskets on this engine. I think this engine also goes in the Jaguar S-Type as well. So we're going to start. I'm basically going to show you on this side, on the passenger side, but it's very similar on the driver's side. But anyways, there's normally some screws that go in here, but this one doesn't have it. It just pops right out. Alright, yeah, so I'm only going to show on this side. I'll reference the other side later. You got some hoses that got to be undone. It's hot. You squeeze, there's two push tabs on it, and you squeeze them. The problem is I can't get on the one side. This one, it's a tight fit. If you squeeze them and it's supposed to come off. Where'd my flathead go? Squeeze them. Or take one of these and squeeze it. You don't want to break it. So there, those are free. Now, good. This bezel all right here goes to the spark plugs. Gonna want to undo that. Oh, perfect. It does give me room. So we'll grab a short 12. Probably viewing the back of my head, aren't you? Go. And I think there's one more down in here, or there isn't. This one doesn't have all of them. And it should, yep, just pop right up. There we go. Now, as you can see, you've got all your cylinders. Lighting isn't spectacular. Is that better for you guys? Yeah, that's a little bit better. So, doesn't like much really holds. Yeah, this one holds them in. But we can start by just taking them out. Surprised there's like no like connector like really holding them in. They just slide right off. Seems very, very weird in my opinion. Wow. All right, so now we want to take the coil packs out. This bracket is in the way, so I'm gonna move it out of the way. This bracket over here is just held in with 2 bolts. Should make it a lot easier to get to stuff. Now the bracket will move around. Everything's quite a bit better. Actually may even remove everything from the bracket. I'll be right back. Alright, so I just removed the bracket. It's held in the 2 bolts, some slide clips, and then you've got your Christmas tree type push pins there. I'm gonna mark these coil packs not in their firing order, but in the order that they're in here. You want to put them back the same way that they went in. So you can like put a number or do dots, which is what I'm gonna do. And then that way I'll know the order that they go in. You don't want to mess that up. You could end up with a misfire or something just from getting the coil moved around. So yeah, and then just gonna pull them out. And as you can see, there's actually oil on the boots, and there's a lot of oil on the boots. And this is gonna be, so what's gonna cause the oil to go down into the spark plug tubes is that the gasket around that has failed and it's able to fall down into it. So that's what causes that. We're gonna wanna make sure, you're gonna wanna make sure that you get all that oil out of there. And the easiest way to get the oil out is basically just using your tube and just keep going down and cleaning the oil off. There's a lot of oil down in there. That's one of the easiest ways. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that and take all the coil packs out. So the next thing I did was, you got a wiring harness here that's got push tabs in it that goes through holes on the valve cover. You want to make sure that your coil pack wiring harness is out of the way. It wants to fall down there, which is where your exhaust manifold is, which isn't good. It'll burn it up. You just want to make sure that all the wire, and the other thing is way back in there, let's see if I can put my finger right there, the spark plug wiring harness goes through there. On this car, it was just held in with some, what is that weird stuff called? Gasket maker stuff. I don't think that's normal, but that's what it was held in. Just so you know, that's back there. I'm sure there's more things that it's connected to back here, or the wiring harnesses. But I'll tell you as I go along. Seems to be the only thing holding in this cylinder head, not cylinder head, Jesus Christ. Valve cover gasket is you've got some bolts all along down here. I guess there's none on the front side, so hopefully there's none on the back. You've got some hold downs for this metal piece here, and then underneath that will be the other bolts, and that seems to be basically, that's all it is. This bolt there looks real scary and gnarly, so I'm going to spray that down with some PV Blast. Let me see if I can show you guys down inside the spark plug wells. As you can see, that's basically saturated in oil. I was doing the tube method using the spark plug tube or coil pack thing, tube, whatever. I'm gonna actually blow it out with compressed air and a paper towel. Let me see if I can get that focus better for you guys. Right down in there. All right, let's do a better job. Let's put manual on. So now you can kind of see down in there and see that it's filled with oil. We don't want to take the spark plugs out because then the cylinder will fill with oil. We want to get that oil out first. Alright, so I'm gonna go and do some other stuff. I gotta let this battery recharge and I'll get back. Okay, so I did the other side and I'll talk a little bit more about that. But first, let's go ahead and get these two off. These are just held on by 2 nuts. And then that thread is also part of the valve cover that, holds it down. So we'll go ahead and do all that first. some of them, on this side, there's going to be 3 that are going to be a little bit more difficult to get to. I find if I use a 1/4 style socket with a 10 mil deep, and I said the size, which is hilarious, and use that to crack it free, that should do it. Let me try and show you, like, it's really tight in there. And these, down in here, these bolts are, you know, they're super, but once you crack them free, they're loose. I do not believe, I'm going to say it now, but I do not believe there's a torque spec on them. They have like a built-in metal shoulder, so once they bottom out, they're done. There's no need to keep. Alright, so now it should come out. There's a bracket right here. I'm going to see if I can get past it. There most likely will be a connection on the end, or like a Christmas tree clip like this on the back. I really don't want to remove this. It isn't easy to, because there's the coolant hose here. But now this does not come out. It is part of a solenoid that goes in the engine for the cams. So if you, I mean, you can push right up on this Christmas tree tab, and it should, the other side just popped up. There's also RTV right there, which is probably what's making it slightly more difficult. So this is basically a pry point. If I knew how to pry, it would work perfectly. There we go. Now it's up. The fun part is getting it out. This part right here. Alright, so the RTV, that part's gone. Alright, so now we're good. Be careful when you're lifting up, you don't damage this solenoid. They're not exactly cheap, and I doubt an auto parts store has one. The other thing, this gasket right here, if you bought any gasket kit, it does not come with this. I looked them up. You can't even find them on Rock Auto. They're a dealer-only part. They don't even come with the solenoid. I'll put the part number in, or the call-out number. To my understanding, they're the same for both sides. I think it's $13 each. That's what I paid, and then of course there's tax. But sadly, this one has to go back on because it's Sunday, but I already have the part ordered, and I'll show you guys how to put them on. Because you do not need to have this off, the valve cover off, to put them on. So anyways, you want to pull this out carefully, and it doesn't feel, this side does not have anything connected to it. Alright. Alright, so now we're outside. It's really, really hot today. So I'm outside. I have a blanket or a paper towel right here that I will use for each of the bolts, so I can put them in order. For some reason, one corner always falls out. Happened on the other side too, so be mindful of that. One will pop out. And there actually was a connection on this one. It just wasn't taped in. So now basically this is super hard, and I'm just using a pick to pop it out. Maybe on yours it won't be so. I mean, this has never been done on this car. So now I just want to pull it out. Now, as you can see, this part of the gasket goes underneath that. I guess it's a bolt holder or through hole. So be mindful of that. See it drop down. So I'm going to go ahead and put it with the bolt right here. And you can pull them right out if you want, but once that comes off, I'm just lining them up as how they come out. Normally I'd be wearing gloves, but like I said, it is unbelievably hot here. In the background you can hear the cicadas. It's hot today. This one. Now I'm just moving the line up to the front, so it relates to, you know, what the orientation. And on these two parts right here, the part of the gasket's fatter, it's where you're going to put some RTV, but obviously I'll show you that on the card too. Just some black RTV, because that's where the cylinder head meets with the engine front cover or timing chain cover. So it's got to be covered or oil could leak out. We're getting them all out. And the last one. Down, come on through. There we go. Each one of these bolts have a gasket on it. We're going to be replacing that. This is obviously junk. We've got the two bolts in the middle. This just pops up. And this one pops up as well. And obviously garbage. And then these can just fall right down. You want to grab them. And grab them. They also have a gasket on it, but it's different than all the rest. And clean my hands off. A little oily. Now you've got your, I need to make sure that you're recording because it'll suck if you're not. Okay, you definitely are. Alright. You've got your spark plug tube gaskets. You want to pry these out. Now this is the failure. These are the failure, and this one is also a failure. This is what how it's leaking oil. Not the gasket was actually fine. The outer part of the gasket was not leaking. And there we go, now all the gaskets are out, except for that one because that's on order. I have brake clean here, and I'm just gonna clean. Alright, so now it's time to install the gasket. This weird colorization is what happens when a brake clean touches oil. It's really not that big of a deal. So we got your gasket. It only goes on one specific way. The rounded and basically these tabs are going to want to be facing out towards the engine, or the cylinder head. This might be the wrong way for them. Actually, I think the whole thing, yep, there we go, it all looped around. So you just want to start putting it in. Make sure the rounded edge, the flat, the longer edge goes in the trail, or the groove. The rounded edge comes out, and that's what creates the mating surface, so you don't get leaks. So be mindful of that. I don't really think, I mean, obviously can't go in the other way. It really only goes one way. But I'm not liable if you make a mistake. I'm not a mechanic. Alright, so these two that go in the center, these, and part of your kit, they are different than the ones that go on the outside, so be very mindful of that. You might want to think the round edge goes in, but that's not true. It's actually, again, the rounded edge faces out, essentially towards the cylinder head when you put it on, and that's just how it faces. So you want to take the old ones off. I'm gonna actually spray this one. There's oil still left on it. And go up through There it is. And then you put it around that that metal, I don't know what the metal thing is called. I just know you need to put it around it. Yeah, also this metal thing, this tube it goes through, also helps with the bottoming out. That's why there's no torque once the bolt stops, because this basically mates right to the cylinder head. Once the bolt stops moving in, you're done. You don't need to torque it down any further. Spray this one down. Too much oil on it. There we go. Up this one up through. And put the O-ring on it. I mean, they go on pretty easy. Can't see a reason why you need to do, like, put some kind of lubricant on it. But anyways, okay, cylinder spark plug tubes, same thing. There's a straight edge and there's a rounded end. Rounded end obviously goes down or faces towards the cylinder head, faces out towards you as you're putting it together. It will not go the other way. It doesn't want to. Just doesn't fight you. If it's fighting you, then you're obviously doing it the wrong way. Just simply put it in and put it in. This is a Felpro kit. I feel that it's not as complete as it should be because it doesn't come with the VVT solenoid seal. Like I said, buy that from the dealer. The part number should display right now. Part number. Alright, so these, again, I have them in the order and the way that they go in. Take the gasket off. Chuck it aside. You don't want to pick it up on accident. And they're all the same, nothing different for these. Pop one out. Doesn't matter which way it is, the same both sides. And these sit right up here, like on the shoulder. And then it goes up and through, push it through, and then you take the gasket. I have a rounded end pick. I wouldn't use like the sharp end of the pick, like that end. The rounded end, and push it around and underneath that shoulder. And then you do that all the way around. We're gonna zip right through this. So that's all done. There's 3 more, it looks like. I didn't forget any. I'm pretty sure that this kit goes for other Ford models. So now basically we're gonna go back to the vehicle. We got some services we gotta clean up before we can install this, and some RTV to install. So let's go ahead and get back to the car. Alright, so now the next thing to do is to clean off the mating surface. Luckily, because this is not an RTV gasket, you don't really have to, or you do. You should wipe it down. Wipe it down. It's not like crazy hard to clean. But right here, and right here, is where some black RTV has to go. So you definitely want to clean off the old stuff, because RTV will not mate to RTV, but if you look down in there, you can see like a trail. You can't really clean that off, because, and you don't want to clean that out, because that's actually where the front cover RTV is. So you just really want to clean off the top bit. It comes, I mean, off with your nail. It's really not that hard. And you're just, and same thing on the other side. It's going to be there as well. And brake clean, it does it. And just clean all the way around. It's not that hard to clean. Like I said, this RTV comes off with just scraping it with your nail. But you just want to make sure that you have a nice, clean mating surface all the way around. So yeah, just wipe it down. Not gonna run through that whole thing. So now we have our black. I'll do it like it's like a makeup commercial, makeup thing. Focus, focus, focus. Basically just some ultra black RTV gasket maker. And in those 2 spots that were cleaned off, you're just gonna want to put Not a crazy amount, just a dab to cover up that seam that the cylinder head and the front engine cover make. No need to go crazy on it. And now we'll go ahead and bring the cylinder head with the new gaskets. Alright, so now I got the cylinder head. I'm flipping it over carefully. And don't forget, one of the bolts, I found it on both sides. One of them does pop out. And you're just going to want to slide it back in here. Careful of that RTV. This whole thing you're going to want to pull up, obviously. Got a hose here, the electrical connections. You don't want to... Come on, there we go. And then, this is basically holding the whole thing up. And then there it sits. You know, if that goes through the hole like that, this solenoid, you're basically good. We're good. And now basically all you want to do is screw all these in. Don't forget that the bolt that falls out. Don't forget it. Don't forget it. And again, they're like shoulder bolts. Once they're tight, they're tight. Don't keep going. You'll crack. You'll probably break the nut, break the bolts, or crack the housing. Do not. Just tight, you're done. Because it has the thing that in it that shoulders it. But if you just start off just by putting them all in the thread holes, you'll be good. This is easy, guys. I'm going to fast forward through it. Now it's time to put the coil packs back in. Remember, you want to put them in the order in which they came out. Of course, I dotted them to make sure with a colored pen. They're having a hard time sticking in because there is a shit ton of oil down in here. And the other thing is, it'd be smart if you applied some, especially in this case, I think this car is going to need some new, not new coil packs, but definitely new coil pack boots because they were sitting and cooking in oil. Put some dielectric grease on there. And they're on the boot. Man, I need to buy more, don't I? Go down in there. It does not want to stay. Even with how much oil I blew out of there, it's still being difficult, eh? If any of you guys know, I would appreciate it. This is supposed to go in cylinder number 4. That's why you look at them. If any of you guys know of a good way to get oil out, please let me know. I'm wondering if I should just like buy an adapter for a vacuum cleaner. My shop vac that'll suck it out. But if any of you guys know of a good method, please let me know. I would definitely appreciate it. Alright, pop that last one in. There we go. None of them really want to stay. Pretty sure it's because it's going to need new boots, but I will let the customer know that. So now you want to take the fasteners, fasten it down. right. There we go. Now, with your electrical connections, put them all in there. Make sure that the tube is down in the rail and the cutout back there. And all want to fit. There are holes for Christmas trees, but they're not really sticking. So that's all done. Now you want to get your cover. Your cover, there's this tapered end, so this one isn't. This end faces front. Go down. Make sure they're all in. And it probably will give you trouble. Make sure that all your wiring is in place. That back one is definitely in that. There we go. And then you got this bracket here. Put it up onto that, and then we'll bolt it in. Take this, go ahead and connect it. It should click on. There we go, it clicked. Take your Christmas tree holders, put them down. They're all, don't forget the one on the bottom. That one faces up. There we go. And we'll get the screws for that. First, let's put these in. There we go. There we go. I don't have very many of these. It's like 2. It's 3. Well, my socket stuck to it, isn't that cute? So now you're going to want to, don't forget, you know, if you don't have to, you don't have to replace this, but it is going to get replaced because it's partly where it failed, but you don't want to forget to connect that. Let's bounce on over to the other side. And alright, so to you it's a couple minutes, to me it's 2 days. So, it's not going to want to focus. There's the part number. And this is the gasket. There's one per each side. Undo your electrical connection. You can easily take a flathead to get underneath. And then you simply take the new O-ring. It sits in a specific way, be mindful of that. And the new one will be a very nice tight fit. Push it down and reattach your electrical connection. Now, like I said in the video already, if you're going to redo your valve cover gaskets and seals, order this part from Ford or Lincoln. So this is driver's side. You want to remove the whole air intake and the bottom part. You're going to have to remove the power steering pump or reservoir. Just move it to the side. I have a napkin underneath it, dripped a little bit. You're going to want to disconnect this gas line. You will need a special tool for that, and you'll have to let the car, what's the term? Before you turn the engine over, you gotta let the pumps pressurize the lines. So you turn the key to on position, pressurized. Then there's this line here. It's all the same line, and then there's a bracket. There's a bolt back down here you want to remove. You want to remove these two strut bolts so that you can remove this whole thing up. And the way I held the whole thing back was obviously there's a hole in this bracket. I just put it over this, and then I pulled the line back. This also has to be disconnected, just a squeeze fitting, and I pulled it all back. It's basically the exact same thing. This side, to get it out, you actually just lift it up and then pull it back. As for this side, you lift it up and then take it out to the side. So hopefully that's helpful. I'm going to go through the process of putting it all back together, and I'm going to speed through it. Taking things apart is easy. The important part is, making sure that you have your seals in correctly. So let's fly through the rest. Go ahead and hop in it, let it prime, and then we'll go ahead and start. The other thing I forgot to mention, on the driver's side, this dipstick tube has to come out. It's not that hard. It's only held in with a bolt, and then wiggle, 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 pull. It comes with your Velcro kit comes with a new gasket to go into the oil reservoir at the bottom, the oil pan. I just added some lithium grease, and with the gasket and everything, it just slides right on. So I'm going to go ahead and start it, not start it, let it prime, which is with the system. So now what you want to do is take this time and basically just check for leaks. My battery is about to die. There's a cover you put on it. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Either way, I'd like to know why. Please help support me on PayPal and on Patreon. Those links will be in the description below. Please subscribe if you like this video. And also, there's something else I was going to say. I don't know, but I'll see you guys next time. Bye.